Shalom, family. Hope everybody's doing well. I want to talk about Baruch, second Baruch, from chapter 24 and chapters all the way to chapter 40. But before I get started, I want you to know that this book has a wealth of information. But in order for you to get the whole picture, I recommend that you start at the first chapter in second Baruch. Baruch had several visions while talking with the Most High, and there was a lot revealed. And based on what I read so far, it is for this time and day that we're in. So rather than call this a lesson, today I'm going to call this a reading. I don't want to influence anybody's thoughts or opinions. This is why I'm just going to read. I'm just going to read to you. I may stop a few places here and there to explain what I see. And just to make sure that's clear, I'm going to explain what I see. And remember to like and subscribe, because the YouTube algorithms promotes your content based on the algorithms, the thumbs up, the comments. And what I like to see happen is for as many people to have the opportunity to receive the blessings of the Most High's truth. And that can only be spreaded through YouTube's algorithms, the thumbs up, the likes, and subscribes. And as always, this channel is not motivated by donations. So with that being said, let's start reading. Second Baruch, chapter 24, verse 1. Now remember, this is Baruch. He's talking to the Most High. The Most High is revealing visions to him for a future prophecy. And I really want you guys to really listen close and leave comments to let me know, what do you see? So with that being said, second Baruch, chapter 24 and verse 1. For behold, the days are coming, and the scrolls will be opened, in which are written the sins of all those who have sinned. Moreover, also the treasures in which are brought together the righteousness of all those who have proven themselves to be righteous. Verse 2. And it will happen at that time that you shall see, and many with you, the long suffering of the Most High, which lasts from generation to generation, who has been long suffering toward all who are born, both those who sinned and those who prove themselves to be righteous. And I answered, now this is Baruch talking, and I answered and said, but behold, O Most High, a man does not know the number of things which pass away, nor those which come. For behold, I also know what has befallen me, but that which will happen with our enemies, I do not know, or when you will command your works. And the Most High answered and said to me, you also will be preserved until that time, namely until that sign which the Most High will bring about before the inhabitants of the earth at the end of days. Now, that part I really want you to focus on. At the end of days. So that is pretty much telling you this prophecy you're about to hear consists of the days that we're in right now. This then will be the sign when horror seizes the inhabitants of the earth, and when they fall into many tribulations, and further, they fall into great torments. Now, I just want to read that again because I want to point something out. This then will be the sign when horror seizes the inhabitants. Okay, just for a second, let's discuss some of the horrors that the inhabitants are experiencing right now. We have these viruses popping up. Now there's a new one called Omicron. And if you didn't know, Omicron is a pagan Greek god. Ain't it funny? They would name the virus after a pagan Greek god. When horror seizes the inhabitants of the earth, and they fall into many tribulations, and further, they fall into great torments. And it will happen that they will say in their thoughts, because of their great tribulations, the Most High, the Mighty One, does not anymore remember the earth. It will happen when they lose hope, that the time will awake. The apocalypse. Now, I want to point something out here. This word, apocalypse, simply means to reveal. Hence, the book of Revelation. So this is where they got that title for that book. We all know they created this book called the New Testament, and they stole certain captions and expressions from the Torah in order to develop or create this book. But we're not going to get into that. But I just wanted you to know that this word apocalypse simply means revelation. The apocalypse of the 12 calamities and the coming of the Messiah. Now, some time ago, I did a lesson called The Risen King, where I completely revealed who the Messiah was, beyond any doubt. And in that lesson, the Most High said himself, he called that person by name. And that person was David. I can't put all that in this reading today, but I just wanted you to reflect on that. The apocalypse of the 12 calamities and the coming of the Messiah. And I answered and said, that tribulation, which will be, will it last a long time? And that distress, will it embrace many years? And the Most High answered and said to me, that time will be divided into 12 parts. And each part has been preserved for that for which it was appointed. In the first part, the beginning of commotions. I should have looked that word up. I mean, it's a common word, and it's very easy to get the understanding of what a commotion is. In the second part, the slaughtering of the great. Just reflect on that for a minute. The slaughtering of the great. Now, here I see all those assassinations, all of those takeovers that a certain country committed. They will go into other countries and take over the government or overthrow the government and place their own stooges in there so that that country will operate based on the democracy of this particular country. So in the second part, the slaughtering of the great. In the third part, the fall of many into death. Right here, look at the death that are happening right now because of this virus that I'm not going to mention because, you know, YouTube will probably shut me down. But we know what that is. That's the third part, the fall of many into death. And that number is growing day by day. I could talk a lot about that, but I'm not. And the fourth part, the drawing of the sword. In the fifth part, famine and the withholding of rain. In the sixth part, earthquakes and terrors. In the eighth part, a multitude of ghosts and the appearance of demons. In the ninth part, the fall of fire. Now right here, I want to tell y'all something, and I should have told you the very day it happened. I don't know why I didn't. But I fell asleep one night, and I had this dream or vision. And it was me and my wife. And I saw all of these balls of fire coming from the sky. They were fireballs, and you could see the flame coming from all of them. And something, and I believe it was the Most High, took me and my wife. Now, we didn't see this. It wasn't something you could see, but I know somebody, and like I said, the Most High, picked us up and put us into this cylinder or basement type thing. And I looked up, and the round top closed. And I saw an orange glow go around the seam of that top as if it was being welded shut. And I realized that he was protecting us. And after that, I woke up. And I woke my wife up and I told her about that dream. Later that morning, Sister Dixon, Denise Dixon, she came in and she said, "Did y'all hear about what happened in Detroit?" And I said, "No, what happened?" And she says, "There was reports of fireballs falling from the sky." She described it exactly like I described it to my wife. So I didn't know where we were when that happened, when I saw that, like what state or what city. I just knew we were in this country. And it's funny how she would describe it exactly the way I did. And it actually happened in Detroit. So the Most High had shown me something that I neglected to pass on to everybody else. But I have a witness. So in the ninth part, the fall of fire. In the 10th part, rape and much violence. Do we not have that problem today? In the 11th part, injustice and unchastity. Injustice and unchastity. We're living in a country that is the most unjust country of all. So much so that other countries talk about us like we're a joke. And when I say we, I'm not including us in with them. It's simply we're in this country and we witness this every day. This is a fact. Now remember, this was prophesied way back then. In the 12th part, disorder and a mixture of all that has been before. These parts of that time will be preserved and will be mixed one with another, and they will minister to each other. For some of these parts will withhold a part of themselves and take from others, and will accomplish that which belongs to them and to others. Hence, those who live on earth in those days will not understand that it is the end of times. Now, ain't that what we see right now? Just for a moment, look at the billions of Christians claiming the New Testament, following JC. Do they understand? No. But that clearly tells you this is the day that this is referring to. And further down in this reading, we're going to discover some things that should open your eyes. And I'm not talking to those that are on this channel. I believe wholeheartedly your eyes are open. But this is for those who still don't get it. Baruch, 2nd Baruch, chapter 28, verse 1. But everyone who will understand will be wise at that time. For the measure and the calculation of that time will be 2 parts. Weeks of 7 weeks. Don't forget this. Weeks of 7 weeks. Excuse me. And Baruch said again, and I answered and said, it is excellent. I'm sorry, the Most High said, and I answered and said, it is excellent that man should come so far and see, but it is better that he should not come so far, lest he falls. But I shall say also, say this, will he who is incorruptible despise those who are corruptible? Will he who is corruptible despise those who are corruptible? What is that old saying? There is honor among thieves. And will he despise what happens with those who are corruptible, so that he might only look to those who are not corruptible? But when the Most High, I don't like this. But when the Most High, these things will surely come of which you spoke to me before. Let me also know this. If I have found free, unmerited favor and pardon in your eyes, is it in one place or in one part of the earth that these things will come, or will they be noticed by the whole earth? Baruch is asking questions. And his question is it in one place or in one part of the earth that these things will come, or will they be noticed by the whole earth? And here it is again. I don't want that. And the Most High answered and said to me, that which will happen at that time bears upon the whole earth. Therefore, all who live will notice it. For at that time I shall only protect. Y'all listen to this. For at that time I shall only protect those found in this land at that time. What land? Remember the lessons in the past where I talked about the land that he placed his name, the land that he chose, the land he chose to place his name. That is not in this country. It is only at Mount Zion, which is in Africa. That's what he's telling you. For at that time I shall only protect those that are found in this land at that time. And it will happen that when all that which should come to pass in these parts has been accomplished, the anointed one will begin to be revealed. Now, who is the anointed one? It's David. It's King David. The Most High promised to bring him back. And behold, will reveal itself from its place, and Leviathan will come from the sea, the two great monsters which I created on the 5th day of creation. Oh my goodness. Y'all listen, I'm going to stop here for a second and remind you. Go, if you don't have a Sefer Bible, get one. Go to 2nd Baruch and start from the 1st chapter and read it all the way to the last. It is amazing. It is so full of information that we have been not privy to. The two great monsters which I created on the 5th day of creation, and which I shall have kept until that time, and they will be nourishment for all who are left. They're going to feast on all that is left. The earth will also yield fruits 10,000-fold, and on one vine will be 1,000 branches, and on one branch will produce 1,000 clusters, and one cluster will produce 1,000 grapes, and one grape will produce a quart of wine. And those who are hungry will enjoy themselves, and they will, moreover, see marvels every day. For winds will go out in the front of me every morning to bring the fragrance of aromatic fruits, and clouds at the end of the day to distill the dew of health. And it will happen at that time that the treasury of manna will come down again from on high. Let me say that again. And it will happen at that time that the treasury of manna, we know what manna is, right? It's the bread that the Most High fed Israel in the desert or in the wilderness. Of manna will come down again. This will be the second time that he rained manna down from on high. And they will eat of it in those years, because not days, years, because these are they who will have arrived at the consummation of time. And it will happen after these things, when the time of the appearance of the Anointed One has been fulfilled, and he returns with splendor. Returns, okay? That means he's coming from somewhere in the past. He's coming from somewhere in the past. He was anointed. He is David with splendor. That then all who sleep in hope of him will arise. And it will happen at that time that those treasuries will be opened, in which the number of the souls of the righteous were kept. And they will go out, and the multitudes of the souls will appear together in one assemblage of one mind. The Most High's people should be thinking on one accord, as if though it was one body, not all over the place with all these pagan books, but in one mind. And the first ones will enjoy themselves, and the last ones will not be sad, for they know that the time has come of which it is said that it is the end of times. So read that one more time. For they know that the time has come of which it is said that it is the end times. So that prophecy, this prophecy that I'm sharing with you today, is talking about now. It's talking about now. It wasn't the end times back in Baruch days. It wasn't the end time back in Moses days or Jeremiah or Zechariah. It's talking about now. But the souls of the wicked will be more waste away when they shall see all these things. They're going to see all of these things being manifested by the Most High. And just like they were wasted away when they died, they're going to waste away even more when they have been risen again. For they know that their torment has come and that their perditions have arrived. Now, Baruch speaks to the people. Chapter 31 and verse 1. And it happened after these things that I went to the people and said to them, assemble to me all our elders. Okay? This is for those who don't understand. The Most High commands that you respect your elders. Assemble to me all our elders, and I shall speak words to you. I and they all assembled in the valley of the Kidron. And I began to speak and said to them, hear, O Israel, and I shall speak to you, and you, O seed of Jacob, pay attention, and I shall teach you. Do not forget Zion, but remember the distress of Jerusalem. For behold, the days are coming that all that has been will be taken away to be destroyed. And it will become as though it had not been. You, however, if you prepare your minds, to sow into your minds the fruits of the what? Here it is, the Torah. And let me get rid of this. So, let me read 32 and 1 again. This is so good. Y'all gotta get it. You, however, if you prepare your minds to sow into them the fruits of the Torah, not the New Testament, the Most High shall protect you in the time in which the mighty, I apologize for this. The Most High shall protect you in the time in which the Most High, the Mighty One, shall shake the entire creation. I know this is good. For after a short time, the building of Zion will be shaken in order that it will be rebuilt. That building will not remain, but it will again be uprooted after some time and will remain desolate for a time. And after that, it is necessary that it will be renewed in splendor and that it will be perfected into eternity. And like I said before I started this reading, I don't want to influence anybody's thoughts. I want you to read what I'm reading and leave comments telling me what you think. What do you see? Baruch 32, verse 5. We should not, therefore, be so sad regarding the evil which has come now, but much more distressed regarding that which is in the future. All right, this is coming. It is coming. It's here, but it's going to manifest evermore. For greater than the two evils will be the trial when the Most High, the Mighty One, will renew his creation. Y'all got to read this, and you got to tell me, what do you see? And now, do not draw near to me for some days, and do not call upon me until I shall come to you. And it happened after having said all these words to them that I, Baruch, went my way. And when the people saw that I went away, they raised their voices and lamented and said, where are you going from us, Baruch? And do you leave us as a father who leaves his children as orphans and goes away from them? These are the commands which your friend Jeremiah, I'm sorry, got a little trouble pronouncing that, Jeremiah, the prophet, gave to you. And he said to you, look to this people during the time I am absent, while I help the rest of our brothers in Babylon. We remember that, right? Against whom has been declared the sentence that they should be carried away into captivity. This, I believe, is talking about the time when went blank. When Daniel was led into Babylon. And now, if you abandon us too, it would have been better for all of us that we shall die first, and that then you should abandon us. And I answered and said to the people, heaven forbid that I should abandon you, or that I should go away from you. But I shall go to the Kadesh of High Kodeshim, to ask from the Most High, the Mighty One, on behalf of you and Zion, so that I may receive in some ways more light. And after that, I shall return to you. And this word apocalypse appears again, which simply means to reveal. The apocalypse of the forest, the vine, the fountain, and the cedar. And I, Baruch, went to the Kadesh place and sat on the ruins and wept and said, oh, that my eyes were springs, and my eyelids, that they were a fountain of tears. For how shall I be sad over Zion, and lament over Jerusalem? For at the place where now I am prostrate, the high Kohanim used to offer Kadesh sacrifices, and place thereon incense of fragrant spices. Now, however, that of which we are proud has become dust, and that which our soul desired is ashes. Second Baruch, chapter 36, verse 1. And when I had said this, I fell asleep. This is Baruch. He fell asleep. And when I had said this, I fell asleep at that place and saw a vision in the night. And behold, there was a forest with trees that was planted on the plain and surrounded by high mountains and rugged rocks. What do you think that was? That was Mount Zion. And the forest occupied much space. And behold, over against it a vine arose, and from under it a fountain ran peacefully. And that fountain came to the forest and changed into great waves. And those waves submerged the forest and suddenly uprooted the entire forest and overthrew all the mountains which surrounded it. And the height of the forest became low, and that foundation became so strong that it left nothing of the great forest except one cedar. We're going to find out about this cedar. What's going on? I'm having trouble here. We're going to find out about this cedar in just a second. When it had also cast that one down, it destroyed the entire forest and uprooted it so that nothing was left of it, and its place was not even known anymore. Then that vine arrived with the fountain in Shalom, and in great tranquility, and arrived at a place which was not far away from the cedar. And they brought to him that cedar which had been cast down. And I saw, and behold, that vine opened its mouth and spoke and said to the cedar, Are you not that cedar which remained of the forest of wickedness? Now, at this point, let me go back up here and try to show you this picture. And I'm going to start from where it reads, Then that vine arrived with the fountain in Shalom and in great tranquility, and arrived at a place which was not far away from the cedar. Now, I guess the question, who does this cedar refer to? I believe a little further down, we're going to see that it is the Babylonian leaders, which better known as presidents. But let's just keep going. And they brought to him that cedar which had been cast down. And I saw, and behold, that vine opened its mouth and spoke and said to the cedar, Are you not that cedar which remain of the forest of wickedness? Because of you, wickedness remained and has been done during all these years, but never goodness. And you possessed the power over that which did not belong to you. You possessed power over that which did not belong to you. Who does that make you think of? And again, I'm not influencing nobody's thoughts, but these are questions you should be asking yourself. Who could this be? You did not even show compassion to that which did belong to you, and you extended your power over those who were living far from you. Who does that remind you of? And you keep those who are close to you in the nets of your wickedness. In other words, you keep your enemies close. And you uplift your soul always like one who could not be uprooted. Who does that remind you of? Who can bring me down? I don't have to say it. Y'all know who it is. But now your time has hastened, and your hour has come. Therefore, O cedar, follow the forest which has departed before you and become ashes with it, and let your earth be mixed together. And now sleep in distress and rest in pain until your last time comes, in which you will return to be tormented even more. And after these things I saw that the cedar was burning and the vine growing, while it and all around it became a valley of unfading flowers. And I awoke and arose. This is the interpretation of that apocalypse. And I prayed, Baruch, and I prayed and said, O Most High, the sovereign master, you are the one who has always enlightened those who conduct themselves with understanding. Now you see this word understanding here? Let's look at this word wisdom here. These two are the same. Now, briefly, I want to tell you something about Genesis, the first chapter. When the Most High said, let us create man in our image, there has been a long-standing debate on who that other person was the Most High was referring to. Well, I'm not going to get into a lesson about that, but I probably will later. But for now, I want to tell you who the us was. It was the Most High and wisdom. Wisdom was the first creation of the Most High. I could give you the order in which the wisdom was created, Lucifer, and then the rest of the angels. But that would take a lot of time. So for now, if you need to really understand who wisdom is, go to the wisdom of Solomon. Solomon tells you who that us was. And it's been right in our face the whole time. So yes, go to the wisdom of Solomon. So, as I was saying, and I prayed and said, O Most High, the sovereign master, you are the one who has always enlightened those who conduct themselves with wisdom. Your Torah, I had to highlight this because here we are again. The Most High is expressively telling you there's only one book I gave to my people. Only one book. And if you read the Torah from the beginning to the end, that's all you're going to see is him telling you, keep and teach my Torah. And here, Baruch 38, verse 2, your Torah is life, and your wisdom is the right way. Now show me the explanation of this vision. This is Baruch asking the Most High, please tell me what this means. For you know that my soul has always been associated with your what? With your Torah. They did not go to any New Testament. They didn't even speak of such a thing because the Most High never ordained it or commissioned it. They're telling you that this is the only thing that ever existed for the children of Israel, the Torah. And that I did not depart from your wisdom from my earliest days. Y'all please don't forget to go to the wisdom of Solomon. I'm telling you, you're going to figure out who let us create man was. Your wisdom from my earliest days. And the Most High answered and said to me, Baruch, this is the explanation of the vision which you have seen. As you have seen the great forest surrounded by high and rocky mountains, this is the world. Behold, the days will come when this kingdom that destroyed Zion once will be destroyed, and that it will be subjected to that which come after it. This again will also be destroyed after some time, and another and a third will arise also that will possess power. These are kingdoms. These are presidents that he's talking about right now. And another and a third will arise, and also that will possess power in its own time and will be destroyed. How do I know this is talking about the presidents? First of all, I just showed you we're talking about the end days. These are the days we're in right now. So it has to be talking about now. So who's the president now? Who was the president before this president? And I guarantee you that that president before this president is going to come back, and he's going to serve what do you call it? He's going to serve 2 terms. That will make him the 4th. After that, a 4th kingdom arises, whose power is even harsher and more evil than those which were before it. And it will reign a multitude of times like the trees on the plain. And it will rule the times and exalt itself more than the cedars of Lebanon. And the truth will hide itself in this, and all who are polluted with unrighteousness will flee to it like the evil beasts flee and creep into the forest. And it will happen when the time of its fulfillment is approaching, in which it will fall, that at that time the dominion of my anointed one, hallelujah, y'all check it out. And when it has revealed itself, let me start that over. And it will happen when the time of its fulfillment is approaching, in which it will fall, that at that time the dominion of my anointed one, David, which is like the fountain and the vine, which will be revealed. And when it has revealed itself, it will uproot the multitude of its host. He's going to uproot that wicked kingdom and all of those that was associated with it. And that which you have seen, namely the tall cedar, which remained of that forest, and with regard to the words which the vine said to it, which you heard, this is the meaning. Baruch, chapter 40, verse 1. Ain't this good, y'all? The last ruler. Let me highlight that. The last who? The last ruler. Who do you think the last ruler will be? And who is this referring to? That's easy. The last ruler who is left alive at that time will be bound, whereas the entire host will be destroyed. And they will carry him on Mount Zion. And my anointed one will convict him of all his wicked deeds, and will assemble and set before him all the works of his host. And after these things, he will kill him and protect the rest of my people, who will be found in the place that I have chosen, and his dominion will last forever. That's David, until the world of corruption has ended, and until the times which have been mentioned before have been fulfilled. This, Baruch, is your vision, and this, Baruch, is its explanation. All praises to the Most High. Shalom.